5 हो गया। मैं नहीं समझता हूं ये बात। क्या बात है कि आज दुनिया का मुसलमान एक आदमी न्यूयॉर्क का मेयर बन सकता है, ममदानी लंदन के अंदर मेयर बन सकता है एक खान, हिंदुस्तान के अंदर किसी मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी का कोई आदमी वाइस चांसलर नहीं बन सकता, और अगर बनेगा तो आजम खां की तरह जेल के अंदर जाएगा। आज देख लीजिए अल-फलाह का क्या हो रहा है। गवर्नमेंट मुल्क की आजादी के बाद इस पर लगी हुई है कि मुसलमान को सर नहीं उठाने देना है।
Madani went on to express shocking claims, what he described as discrimination against Muslims in India, citing examples such as the imprisonment of leaders like Azam Khan and the government action against Al-Falah University after some of its doctors were linked to the Delhi terror attack. Countering the narrative that Muslims globally have become helpless or finished, he pointed to the election of Muslim mayors in major international cities, in New York and in London. He alleged that no Muslim can become a university vice-chancellor in India, and even if someone does, they will be sent to jail, referring to the scrutiny faced by Al-Falah University in the wake of the terror case. Madani referred to Al-Falah Group chairman Javed Ahmad Siddiqui, who has been remanded to 13 days of ED custody till December 1 for committing the offence of money laundering linked to large-scale fraud, forged accreditation claims and diversion of funds from the Al-Falah University. Reacting to Madani's remarks, the BJP has also issued sharp responses.
अरशद मदनी साहब के बयान में कन्फ्यूजन था। वो एक तरफ तो कह रहे थे कि मुसलमान पूरे दुनिया में पस्त हो चुका है, दूसरी तरफ वो ज़ोरान ममदानी की बात कर रहे थे कि वो न्यूयॉर्क में मेयर बन गए, और 2 लोगों के उन्होंने नाम उसमें लिए हैं। एक नाम लिया आज़म खान का और दूसरा नाम अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी का लिया। अल-फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी का जो ओनर है वो बचपन से अपराधी प्रवृत्ति का रहा है।
जमात के एक और व्यक्ति सामने आए और वो कवर फायर दे रहे हैं और कहते हैं कि कोई यूनिवर्सिटी का वाइस चांसलर भी नहीं बन सकता। यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर का देश में तो राष्ट्रपति भी मुसलमान बने हैं, परंतु आतंक की यूनिवर्सिटी का जस्टिफिकेशन और जायज़ीकरण नहीं किया जा सकता। अगर कोई आतंकवाद करता है तो उसके ऊपर कानूनी कार्रवाई होगी, परंतु जो लोग कहते हैं कि आतंकवाद का कोई मज़हब नहीं होता, वो मज़हब के नाम पर केवल आतंकी और आतंकियों के समर्थक को क्यों पैरवी करते हैं।
मौलाना मदनी जैसे लोग उसको संकीर्ण दृष्टि से देखते हैं और जिस मुद्दे को वो सांप्रदायिक रंग देने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं उसमें सफल नहीं होंगे। ऐसे बहुत सारे हमारे सामने एग्जाम्पल मौजूद हैं जहाँ पर हमारे मुस्लिम बिरादरी के लोग उच्च पदों पर सुशोभित हैं और देशभक्ति का काम कर रहे हैं, तो लिहाजा मौलाना मदनी का बयान किसी भी हालत में स्वीकार नहीं किया जा सकता।
On the other hand, Congress leader Udit Raj has voiced his support for Mamdani, warning that the institution should not become a target despite alleged terrorist links.
हाँ, मैं सपोर्ट करता हूँ। मैं मानता हूँ कि कोई गया गुप्त रूप से टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटीज किया है, उसको क्षमा नहीं करना चाहिए, टेररिज्म को क्षमा नहीं करना चाहिए, लेकिन पूरी यूनिवर्सिटी को टारगेट नहीं कर सकते ना, बंद कर दे यूनिवर्सिटी, ये नहीं कर सकते।
Meanwhile, authorities continue their investigation into the university's alleged ties to the Delhi blast. The probe has sparked a heated political debate, with BJP criticizing Madani's earlier remarks and now Udit Raj's comments adding fuel to the fire. Remember, the primary 4 accused involved in the car blast near the Red Fort metro station, in which 15 people were killed, were the doctors of the Al-Falah University, including terror doctor Umar Nabi, who committed the attack.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है।
अरे मेरे राजा। Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white-collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का। उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है।
अरे मेरे राजा।
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है।
अरे मेरे राजा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे,
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Good evening, you're watching This is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. Ladies and gentlemen, the tragic loss in Dubai and the sacrifice of an incredibly skilled young fighter pilot, Wing Commander Namansh Syal, is a moment for all of us to reflect on our self-inflicted limitations and the disservice that we are doing to our valiant soldiers. Make no mistake, the Indian Air Force is built with some of the toughest people, soldiers who are perpetually in operational mode. It is time that India's policymakers ask this hard question. Are you being fair to Indian Air Force? Are we giving them what they need? For the longest time, we have been playing catch-up. While there is no doubt that Tejas is a fantastic idea, but an idea that has woefully taken a long time. Now consider this. The government first cleared what it called the light combat aircraft in 1983. It took 18 years to take its first flight, 12 years for initial operational clearance, and another 6 years for full operational clearance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the regrettable story of a fine idea, but a desperate attempt to catch up. That's our focus tonight on This is Exclusive. Let me take you through the headlines we are tracking at this hour. India bids tearful goodbye to Wing Commander Namansh Syal. Mortal remains cremated in Himachal's Kangra. French Navy slams Pakistan media for misinformation, says Rafale claims fabricated. Union Minister Piyush Goyal meets Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. India-Israel free trade agreement talks gain momentum, innovation partnership on the cards. After political row, Home Ministry issues clarification on Chandigarh bill, says it has no plans to introduce a bill altering Chandigarh's governance. Ladies and gentlemen, India marked 2 months of the decommissioning of the last two MiG-21s, and now the Indian Air Force finds itself at the most precarious moment in 6 decades. Combat squadrons are down to just 29 against a sanctioned strength of 42. But even amid the challenges arose the Tejas, the radiant symbol of Atmanirbhar Bharat, conceived in 1983, first flown in 2001, inducted in 2016 with the Flying Daggers, and now surging forward with 48,000 crore rupees deal. The road ahead remains unforgiving. First Mk1A deliveries are still a year away. HAL's production lines are stretched, and the AMCA 5th generation dream is still on the drawing board. But the message is unmistakable. From the MiG-21's fiery legacy to Tejas' luminous ascent, the Indian Air Force may be bruised and outnumbered tonight, yet its spirit soars unbroken.
It was in September 2025 when at the Chandigarh Air Force Station, India bid farewell to the MiG-21. After 62 years in service and over 700 units inducted, the last two squadrons, number 23 Panthers and number 3 Cobras, were grounded. With the retirement of the MiG-21s, the Indian Air Force's fighter squadrons plummeted to 29, the lowest since 1965, against a sanctioned 42 to counter twin threats from China and Pakistan. Legacy jets like Jaguars and Mirages faded without swift replacements, strained by procurement delays and engine shortages. With challenges on for the Indian Air Force, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh had earlier warned that without 35 to 40 annual inductions, two-front readiness hangs by a thread. Then came the Tejas, India's beacon of self-reliance. Born from the 1983 Light Combat Aircraft program, this Delta Wing marvel first flew in 2001, embodying 75% indigenous content by line replaceable units. The Mark 1 entered the Indian Air Force service on the 1st of July in 2016, with number 45 Squadron flying daggers at Bengaluru, transitioning from MiG-21s to operationalize India's first homegrown supersonic fighter. The number 18 Flying Bullets followed in 2021, proving its mettle in air superiority and precision strikes. Where does Tejas position India? At the vanguard of indigenous defense aviation. From 59.7% local content in Mark 1 to 82% in Mark 2, it slashes import reliance. As a lightweight 4.5 generation multi-role ace, agile for border patrols, potent for strikes, Tejas frees Sukhoi 30s for deeper strikes. From MiG-21's fiery legacy to Tejas's radiant rise, the Indian Air Force endures. Not unscarred, but unbreakable. In Balakot's precision, Sindhur's storm, Kargil's peaks, and Dhaka's dawn, it proved numbers may falter, but spirit soars.
Well, in fact, joining us on this special broadcast is Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary, an experienced fighter pilot with over 5,000 sorties, someone who has commanded a fighter squadron. Thank you very much, Air Marshal Chaudhary, for joining us on this broadcast. A somber moment for all of us who have been tracking the Indian Armed Forces, particularly the Indian Air Force, in the backdrop of what we witnessed just about a few days ago at the Dubai Air Show. I want to first begin by asking you, what do you really make of the crash that has taken place of what is considered to be one of the safest platform that Indian Air Force has been flying?
Also, thank you very much for having me on your show once again. And yes, it's a horrible, horrible tragedy, which I think was witnessed by not only all the spectators who were live watching the show, but a vast amount of media spin-off which has been spread, the recordings which have gone viral, it has come on all the TV channels, and I think pretty much millions must have watched this tragedy unfold. But it brings to the fact that military flying military aviation is inherently a dangerous business. It's a dangerous game, and it is considered one of the most dangerous professions on the earth. But that is just the factor which is a part and parcel of every military aviator's life. But what is heart-rending is that when an accident takes place in full public display, it has enormous. It has an enormous effect in itself. And what happened was absolute total tragedy. The Indian Air Force has made it very clear, and the Indian government has made it very clear that there will be in-depth, transparent investigations as a part of the court of inquiry, which has already been ordered. And the facts will be established till then exactly as to what went wrong. And I think till then, we should just respect the fact that it was an air show in which a premier platform of the Indian aviation industry was being showcased. And unfortunately, things went horribly wrong. But this is part and parcel of military aviation and display aviation, and I think the show goes on.
Air Marshal Diptendra Chaudhary, a question that I've been asked by many in the last few days, that after all, when it comes to fighter pilots like Wing Commander Namansh Syal, they must have gone through a lot of training, simulation, and in today's day and age, there is a lot more that goes into these kind of maneuvers that we are talking about, the negative G maneuver that has essentially taken place. I want to, perhaps put this to rest, that speculations, the speculative analysis that many have actually indulged in, and why perhaps it is not the right time to indulge in any sort of speculative analysis of what may have gone wrong.
I'm glad you flagged this point, Shan, and I think I want to reiterate what you have just said, that the most dangerous thing, and this is a trend which I've seen in the recent years, and especially I think the Operation Sindoor is sort of triggered off this. It's almost like a virus which people seem to have caught, where serious military aspects are being analyzed and discussed without in-depth analysis, adequate knowledge, and a lot of it is, I think, grandstanding on the media, with everyone giving their personal opinions. Whereas in military aviation, it's a serious business. And what the fine pilot that we have lost, he was a hardcore professional, and in this business of military flying, and especially in the Air Force, these are accidents are a part and parcel of life. And this is something every aviator and all the loved and the near and dear ones come to terms with very early. And things go horribly wrong. But what is the most dangerous thing is the presumptuous speculation and conjecture, which is sort of spun off with everybody who's watched it, and and today with technological tools that you have, everyone is replaying it again and again and analyzing without the adequate depth and without even letting the actual cause of the accident be established. And that will be done in its own time. And I think till then we must hold our peace, wait patiently, and only then will we drive the life lessons. There is this, I find this, there's an overwhelming urge on everyone's part to know what is happening in domains, and to people whom these details will really, knowledge of these details will really not serve any purpose, and except the fact that, I know the stuff, I know what happened. What is important, we must bear in mind that when an accident like this occurs, where a pilot and a platform are flying in total synergy, pushing the envelope. Remember, display flying, which is being done here, is not for crowd entertainment. It is a serious business of showcasing the combat capabilities of a military platform in the aviation world amidst peers and competitors and prospective buyers. So presumptuous and, the quick conjecture can only draw wrong conclusions and obscure the real facts from the real issues. And that is something we really need to bear in mind. And I totally agree with you that there is a need to hold our horses, wait patiently, let the facts emerge before we put our mouth where our money is.
Air Marshal Diptendra Chaudhary, at the start of this entire program, I did make a mention that this perhaps is the right moment to pause and reflect and ask this question. Are we doing enough for the Indian Air Force? And I'm making this very clear only because all that has happened in the last couple of years is that we've basically tried to project our military power. It may be politically incorrect to say this, but having said this, it is important that we look at the structural problems Tonight, that is the attempt that I'm going to make over the next couple of minutes. And for this, I am also joined by Tom Cooper, who's joining us on this broadcast to perhaps also give us the international understanding of what has really happened here and perhaps how exactly India's air power can only surge further if at all we address some of the key issues, the structural problems, as I've been saying. Tom, thank you very much for joining us. We have a fantastic panel here. Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary, one of the finest strategic mind of our country, someone who's got a lot of experience, and that's he's finally agreed to come on board. Tom, I want to ask you, in light of the Dubai Air Show, there is a lot of propaganda that has essentially been doing the rounds about the Tejas itself. We in India certainly believe that while it has been plagued with certain issues, but it is also one of the finest platforms to be built. It's taken a long time. But the reality is that if it all goes well, then we are in a much better position. Tom, your views on that?
Thank you very much for inviting me. As regards for my views, the situation is simple. Tragically, accidents of this kind are happening. Whatever was the reason has to be found out, and this is left to official investigation. Of course, it's unfortunate and very unpleasant for India when this happens this way in public, de facto in front of the international public, of thousands of viewers, of thousands of cameras. This is not very, very fortunate, especially when you are, well, targeted the way you are targeted, or India is targeted by propaganda warfare from multiple directions, from Pakistan, from China, and from the United States. So from that point of view, you have to watch it from different aspects in order to fully understand it. You see it as Indians, somebody else sees it as, let's say, Pakistani fan or Chinese fan, somebody sees it as US American, and so on and so on. So everybody is interpreting from it his or her own position.
Right. Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary, I want to ask you, because this is something that those who are in the service cannot ask. Sometimes you feel sad that if at all an Air Force officer, serving Air Force officer speaks their mind about what they really need, they're essentially being targeted, or there's a name that has been given to them. Some are basically called, imported Bahadurs, and a lot of names are essentially given. Someone who deals with the Air Force quite regularly, I want to ask you, what is the need of the hour? Because our focus seems to be changing. We seem to be telling the world that, look here, Tejas is a fantastic platform you need to take, you need to buy. And that is the reason why countries like Brazil and various other countries who have expressed the desire, Indonesia being one such, Argentina being the other, we are now concerned about, okay, since we have built a good thing, let's try and sell it. Not to really looking at what we need. We need to fortify our own situation here. Even before we are doing that, we are trying to sell it off.
I'm glad you asked this question, and I paid total attention to what you said in your introduction, and I totally agree on this. This accident, unfortunately, is come at a time and at a cross section of several events. One is, the IAF's combat shortfall, which is rapidly declining, and the need to fill the gaps. Second is the HAL's track record, and like you mentioned, the challenges which the Tejas has undergone, the entire program, and the years and years, the decades actually, which it has taken. And it has still not fully matured. What is flying is Tejas 1, Mark 1. What the Indian Air Force needs and has placed order for and is banking on to fill the gaps of the older squadrons having moved out is the Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, which is some time away from coming into and starting to fill the flight lines of the Indian Air Force. So we are in a critical gap. Combine it with and add to this whole, this complex issues are the outcomes and the fallout and the dynamics of Operation Sindoor, where we saw competitive aircraft industries seeking hard to play down the India's domestic industry to boost their own sales and own credibility, and trying to establish a narrative of a false narrative, which has turned, as it has turned out, of of the combat successes of a platform. So that we need to put that aside, and we also need to take our minds away from this horrible, unfortunate accident which has taken place and focus on the real issue. The real issue, and like you mentioned and you flagged, is the reducing combat potential and the capability and the capacity of the Indian Air Force, which has been flagged over decades. There has been enormous foot dragging on this to reach a point, to this extremely critical point that we have only 29 squadrons of a sanctioned strength of 45 squadrons. So the point here is that the main focus should be on filling the gaps. So when HAL, on which the Indian Air Force has taken a leap of faith in putting their entire trust and faith into producing the Tejas Mark 1A, which was initially a replacement for the MiG-21s, but now it has been dealing from that and now is a part of the Indian aviation industry's development program. It has placed 2 orders on the Mark 1 Alpha without the orders having even been fructified. Okay, there have been challenges. We've been hostage to the American engines in the absence of the Kaveri not meeting the mark for the Tejas, and this is the only way forward. So we are in a situation where, at an inflection point, where it is a desperate necessity for the Tejas program Mark 1 Alpha to succeed. Crashes happen. There will be problems along the way. But what is important here is to meet the requirements of the IAF on an accelerated scale, which you mentioned. Like the chief said, that we need at least 3 squadrons worth of production scalability and production capability, which the HAL has to step its act up onto to ensure that the numbers come in swiftly. At this critical juncture, if a national Maharatna company whose actual goal should be fulfilling the national and the security interests of the nation, I think taking the taking the eyes off that ball and looking at boosting of sales of a platform which is still nascent and not fully mature, is something we really need to consider. That do we really need to do that? Or should we focus on meeting the nation's and the Indian Air Force's requirement first? Moment the company fulfills, the HAL fulfills, bridges the confidence gap, the trust deficit which exists at this point in time, and the enormous faith and support which the IAF has still shown in placing those orders, it needs to step up the bench to the crease out here and deliver. That should be its topmost priority. It should go on mission mode to deliver these platforms to fulfill these gaps. Moment the Indian Air Force squadrons start forming and they start flying, credibility and reliability of the platform will be the automatic benchmark, which will bolster exports in the future. Right now, the entire focus should be meeting the India's national security requirements and fulfilling the combat requirements of.
Tom, I want to take this last question to you. I'm sorry I've not been able to ask you more questions. You've joined my show a little late. But the final word to you with regards to a direct comparison and the fact that many here in India believe, those who have been closely looking at every development, that we are basically held hostage here. The Americans did not want to give us the GE engines that has essentially led to the inordinate delay that we've essentially seen. How do you really look at this situation? Because for the Americans, selling the F-35 is more important, which I don't think so makes any sense to us. And because there have been 11 crashes when it comes to the F-35 itself.
It is a massive problem, and I think this is a major failure of India not to develop a suitable engine for Tejas and actually for other fighter jets it is flying. Because, you are not taken seriously, and as you see on your own, you are taken hostage, and one is conditioning delivery of engines on all the possible, absolutely, or at least often irrelevant or issues which are not related in any way. So you have now to dance, so to say, on US music in order to get the engines for a jet which is under development for 20-25 years. This is extremely unpleasant. And in your position as a huge country which is, facing aggression from its Western neighbor and not entirely in best relations with the northern neighbor, it would be advisable to solve this issue finally after all the years. It cannot be that India has no production of serious jet engine in terms of jet engine that can power a modern fighter jet in the 21st century. This is, excuse me for expression, but a shame, nothing else. So how do I see this? So again, you need the necessary financing, you need the necessary projects, whether it's Kaveri or some other engine, you have to do something in this direction and finally get this engine into production. Because you can develop theoretically, aerodynamically, fantastic fighters, no problem about this, but if you don't have the engine to power it, it's absolutely useless. All you have done in regards of investing into the airframe, into the avionics, into production facilities and so on and so on. The engine is making often more than 50% cost of the aircraft because it's so important. A reliable, powerful enough, trusty engine. This is what is necessary. And one cannot emphasize this strongly enough. Get this done. Right. Otherwise, you are going to continue being, de facto a playground for foreign powers, nothing else.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Tom Cooper and Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary for at least touching upon some of those pressing issues. It's also a moment to perhaps recognize the sacrifice that has also been made by our valiant soldiers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a minor attempt that we've essentially made to put the spotlight on some issues that are plaguing our system, and it's time to raise our voice. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डवेयर मसाला
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Hi, this is Rajan Navani, Chairman and MD of the Jetline Group. Excited to be a part of the India Economic Summit being hosted by Republic Business, happening on 28th November at the Republic headquarters in Noida. See you at the summit.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा। सबका राजा प्योर मसाला।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Viewers, top headlines. Piyush Goyal meets Israeli PM Netanyahu. India-Israel FTA talks gain momentum. Innovation partnership on the cards. French Navy slams Pakistan media for misinformation, says Rafale claims are fabricated. After political row, Home Ministry issues clarification on Chandigarh bill, says it has no plans to introduce a bill altering Chandigarh's governance. The mortal remains of Wing Commander Namansh Syal, who died during the Dubai air show, was cremated with full state honours at Himachal Pradesh's Kangra. Jamaat Ulema-e-Hind President Arshad Madani sparks massive row in Delhi amid the Delhi blast probe and says the government is ensuring that Muslims never raise their heads. The BJP criticizes Madani's remark alleging discrimination against Muslims in India, terms his statement confusing and misleading. Karnataka CF Siddaramaiah dismisses leadership change discussion in the state after meeting with Congress Chief Kharge. We're getting some breaking news coming in. IDF initial reports are showing that a short while back, the IDF conducted a precise strike targeting a key Hezbollah terrorist in Beirut. And this is coming in as Israeli military has said it struck a area, and the target was a militant, a Hezbollah terrorist, and the strike has hit Beirut's southern suburbs, according to the latest that we are learning of in this story. So back-to-back updates coming in right now, Republic TV. The latest is that a short while back, the IDF said that they conducted a precise strike targeting a key Hezbollah terrorist in Beirut. Israeli military has said this. It struck a key Hezbollah terrorist from the Lebanese-Iran-aligned Hezbollah group in the capital, Beirut's southern suburbs. And this is coming in as we keep getting you back-to-back updates on Republic TV now. Already the Israeli PM Netanyahu has told his cabinet before the strike that Israel would continue to fight terrorism on several fronts. So this is coming in after Netanyahu had said that we will continue to do whatever is necessary to prevent Hezbollah from re-establishing its ability to threaten us. The IDF has confirmed that a recent strike in southern suburb of Beirut targeted a senior Hezbollah leader. Israeli officials say he serves as the terror group's de facto chief of staff. Is considered the number 2 figure after Secretary General Naim Qassem. The strike in the heart of Lebanese capital highlights Israel's determination to eliminate top operatives who threaten Israeli civilians. And this is what you see right now on Republic TV. Now, the target was Haitham Ali Tabatabai. Tabatabai has long been a high-value target and was previously featured in a U.S. State Department reward announcement. His elimination marks a major escalation in Israel's campaign to dismantle Hezbollah's military leadership and infrastructure, and underscored the IDF's readiness to operate deep inside enemy territory to defend Israel's security. Hezbollah leader has been eliminated in those strikes. So this is a new update coming in, viewers, on Republic TV. Now, in November, Israel stepped up airstrikes in South Lebanon area as it is pressing a campaign of near daily attacks which it says is designed to block a military revival by Hezbollah in the border area. So back-to-back updates coming in on Republic TV. Israel has accused Hezbollah of trying to rearm since a US-backed ceasefire last year. The group says it has abided by requirements for it to end its military presence in border region near Israel and for the Lebanese army to deploy there. So big updates coming in, viewers of Republic TV. This is a huge update because Israel targeted Hezbollah chief of staff with the first strike on Beirut in months. So in months and months, we see that there's an airstrike on southern Beirut, the first since early June. And the office of the Israeli PM has said that the IDF struck in the heart of Beirut, targeting one of the key Hezbollah leaders. Let's go to Shravan, who's joining us. Shravan, huge update coming in. This is a update where Israel has targeted Hezbollah's key leader, and it's a strike on Beirut in months.
Well, in fact, this has come after a long time, but the Israeli Defense Forces have now carried out a strike in the suburbs of Beirut, where they basically targeted Hezbollah leader Haytham Tabatabai. Now, the officials have confirmed that he was threatening several Israeli civilians and also top operatives, and that is the reason why he has been eliminated. In fact, he happens to be a high-value target, is what the Israelis are essentially indicating right now. And in fact, he was previously the U.S. State Department in the list of the terrorists who have been named so far. There undoubtedly it's a major escalation that once again we are seeing in Israel's campaign to dismantle what they believe is Hezbollah's military leadership operating, and that is the reason why in Lebanon this is another major strike that has been carried out by the IDF.
Yes, we put those pictures out for our viewers where Israel has done those strikes in Beirut, but it's a very big escalation, Shravan, in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict, because we see that Israel is now trying to expand its operations beyond the border areas in those strikes.
Well, in fact, the Hezbollah leadership has been a major target for the Israelis, but given the fact that the focus was largely that is why the team has slowed down in the operations, particularly in Lebanon. But it seems that with the latest intelligence inputs that the IDF had also regrouping of the Hezbollah leadership, and that is the reason why it is an indication that once again these strikes are now being carried out, targeting some of those who have once again regrouped. And this is the reason why this evening has now confirmed that they've carried out the strike. This was in the southern suburbs of Beirut, where they targeted Hezbollah leader Haytham Tabatabai. And what you can see right now from these screens, it seems that this was in a crowded area where the strikes were carried out. These were aerial strikes carried out by the IDF.
Yeah, Shravan continues to be with us. Shravan, also, the target was Haytham Ali Tabatabai, who the officials from Israel say is the terror group's de facto chief of staff, considered number 2 figure after the Secretary General Naim Qassem. So who exactly is Haytham Ali Tabatabai, Shravan?
Entire leadership structure of the Hezbollah, remember, most of them have been eliminated and were carried out here. Tabatabai happens to be one such leader who was underground for quite some time. In fact, this also indicate moved out.
Right. Okay, we'll go back to Shravan in a short while from now. But just putting on those pictures, the latest update that we're getting for our viewers, where we see the IDF has confirmed that a recent strike in the southern suburbs of Beirut targeted the senior Hezbollah leader, Haytham Ali Tabatabai. Israeli officials say he serves as the terror group's de facto chief of staff, is considered the number 2 figure after the Secretary General Naim Qassem. A strike in the heart of Lebanese capital highlights Israel's determination to eliminate top operatives who threaten Israeli civilians. Now, Tabatabai has long been a high-value target and was previously featured in a U.S. State Department reward announcement. His elimination marks a major escalation in Israel's campaign to dismantle Hezbollah's military leadership and infrastructure, and underscores the IDF's readiness to operate deep inside enemy territory to defend Israel's security. So just letting our viewers know exactly what is happening. This is a huge global update that we're tracking. Also, just adding that we're getting some news that the Hezbollah leader who was targeted in the strike has been eliminated. So this is a huge update that we're getting for our viewers right now. So just telling you that, just giving you a little bit of a context, if you're watching us right now, the Israeli military, which is the IDF, carried out airstrikes in southern Beirut, marking the first strike there since early June. According to the office of the Israeli Prime Minister, the strike has targeted the Hezbollah chief of staff, described as the person responsible for the group's build-up efforts. And the target was Haitham Ali Tabatabai. Haitham Ali Tabatabai, considered as Hezbollah's second most senior figure. We try to get our viewers more updates. This is a huge update that we're tracking on Republic TV because it's a major escalation that we're seeing in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. It's a strike which is deep inside Beirut, and it signals that Israel will be willing to expand its operation beyond the border. Okay, let's move ahead, viewers. We're getting some updates coming in. Maharashtra Deputy CM Ajit Pawar found himself in controversy as he threatened to withhold funds if people do not vote in local body elections. And now Ajit Pawar has broken silence after the backlash. The Maharashtra Deputy CM has said during many elections, different people make such statements. But these things are said only during election time. And he gave example of Bihar elections, saying that the opposition in Bihar said the same thing.
त्याच्यामध्ये निवडणुकीच्या मध्ये ते बोलायचं असतं त्याच्यामध्ये निवडणुकीच्या मध्ये ते बोलायचं असतं त्याच्यामध्ये निवडणुकीच्या मध्ये ते बोलायचं असतं
All right, also let's listen in to what Maharashtra CM Devendra Fadnavis said on this controversy. He backed Ajit Pawar, saying if he goes for campaigning, he will also say the same things, get normal later.
चलते रहता है भाई, चुनाव में ऐसी सब बातें करते रहते हैं, इसका कोई अर्थ नहीं होता है। देखिए, मैं आपको इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ, चुनाव के बाद सभी शहरों का विकास हमको कर रहा है। अब मैं भी कहीं जाऊंगा तो मैं भी बोलूंगा कि मुझे चुन कर दोगे तो मैं ज्यादा पैसा आपको दूंगा, बोलना ही पड़ता है। अरे चुनाव में चलते रहता है भाई, चुनाव में ऐसी सब बातें करते रहते हैं, इसका कोई अर्थ नहीं होता है। देखिए, मैं आपको इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ, चुनाव के बाद सभी शहरों का विकास हमको कर रहा है। अब मैं भी कहीं जाऊंगा तो मैं भी बोलूंगा कि मुझे चुन कर दोगे तो मैं ज्यादा पैसा आपको दूंगा, बोलना ही पड़ता है। अरे चुनाव में चलते रहता है भाई, चुनाव में ऐसी सब बातें करते रहते हैं, इसका कोई अर्थ नहीं होता है। देखिए, मैं आपको इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ, चुनाव के बाद सभी शहरों का विकास हमको कर रहा है। अब मैं भी कहीं जाऊंगा तो मैं भी बोलूंगा कि मुझे चुन कर दोगे तो मैं ज्यादा पैसा आपको दूंगा, बोलना ही पड़ता है।
All right, let's go to my colleague. We have with us Satya Prakash joining us live. Satya Prakash, CM Devendra Fadnavis has downplayed Ajit Pawar's funds remark. If you could help our viewers understand what has really happened, because this is after Pawar's remark linking development funds to voter support.
देखिए शिवांगी, महाराष्ट्र में महायुति की सरकार है। महायुति सरकार में अजित पवार भी शामिल है। कहीं न कहीं सीएम देवेंद्र फडणवीस के बचाव करने में उतरना पड़ा, क्योंकि लगातार जिस तरह से अजित पवार ने बयान दिया और जिस तरह से धमकाते हुए कहा कि अगर आप मुझे वोट दोगे तभी हम आपको फंड देंगे, निधि देंगे, तो कहीं न कहीं लगातार अजित पवार को लेकर कहीं सवाल खड़े किए जा रहे थे। विपक्ष लगातार सवाल खड़े कर रहा है कि अजित पवार माफी मांगे, क्योंकि जिस तरह से मतदाताओं को धमकाने की कोशिश किया है, विपक्ष लगातार डिमांड कर रहा है कि अजित पवार माफी मांगे। तो उसी का बचाव करते हुए सीएम देवेंद्र फडणवीस कहा कि चुनाव है, चुनाव में होते रहता है, ऐसे वादे किए जाते रहते हैं। वही बात कहीं न कहीं अजित पवार जो थोड़ी देर पहले कहा पुणे में कि चुनाव होते हैं, इलेक्शन में बातें किए जाता है, वादे किए जाते हैं, वही बात का। लेकिन जो बात करने का टोन था वहां पे, जब एक सभा थी, प्रचार सभा थी, और जिस तरह से वहां पे टोन था, साफ तौर से कहा उन्होंने कि अगर आप मुझे वोट दोगे, हमारे 18 लोग खड़े होंगे, 18 लोग को चुन कर दोगे तभी हम आपको फंड देंगे। तो कहीं न कहीं जो अजित पवार का जो बातें था, कहीं उसको बचाव करते सीएम देवेंद्र फडणवीस कर रहे हैं, अब वही बात अजित पवार कर रहे हैं। शिवांगी,
Right. Also, to help our viewers understand, what Ajit Pawar had said, because Ajit Pawar had said that you have votes, I have funds. And this remark, of course, was a remark which did not really go down too well. It's a very controversial remark, Satya Prakash. Just help our viewers understand why was this remark controversial and any kind of statements coming in from across political lines.
देखिए शिवांगी, जिस तरह से अजीत पवार का बयान दिया है, उन्होंने जिस तरह से मतदाताओं को धमकाते हुए कहा कि आप मुझे वोट दो, मैं आपको फंड दूंगा, अगर आप वोट नहीं देंगे तो आपको फंड नहीं दिया जाएगा। इसके पहले कई बार देखा गया कि लगातार अजीत पवार ऐसे बयान देते हुए आ रहे हैं, मतदाताओं, किसान, आईपीएस को धमकाते नजर आए। तो वही उसी स्टाइल में कहीं न कहीं अजीत पवार ये बयान दिया था, बारामती के मालेगांव वहां पे बयान दिया था, और जो महाराष्ट्र में लोकल बॉडी इलेक्शन चल रहा है उसी का प्रचार के समय कहा, और प्रचार के समय कहीं न कहीं ये धमकाते हुए, उंगली दिखाते हुए उन्होंने कहा था। लेकिन अब क्या है कि महाराष्ट्र में महायुति सरकार है, महायुति सरकार में बीजेपी है, शिवसेना शिंदे है और अजीत पवार की पार्टी एनसीपी है। तो तीनों पार्टियां कहीं कहीं बचाव में उतर गई। वहीं विपक्ष कह रहा है कि जिस तरह से अजीत पवार ने धमकाते हुए मतदाताओं को कहा है, उनको माफी मांगना चाहिए, क्योंकि मतदाता जो है वो अपने हिसाब से वोट देंगे। किसी को धमका कर वोट नहीं लिया जा सकता। ये नहीं कहा जा सकता कि फंड जो है, अगर आप मुझे वोट दोगे तभी आपको फंड दिया जाएगा। फंड जो है सरकार का है, जनता का है, वो फंड वो काम के विकास के लिए दिया जाता है। लेकिन इस तरह से बयान देना कहीं कहीं गलत है।
Yes, okay. Yes, well, thank you for joining us with all those details, Satya Prakash. Coming back to you for more. And I want our viewers to listen in once again to what Ajit Pawar said and the controversial comment that he made.
तुम्ही मला 18च्या 18 उमेदवार निवडून दिले ना, मी तुम्हाला सांगितलेलं सगळं द्यायला तयार आहे, पण तुम्ही तिथं काट मारली का मी पण काट मारला। तुमच्या हातात मत द्यायचंय, माझ्या हातात निधी द्यायचंय, मग बघा काय ते। तुम्ही मला 18च्या 18 उमेदवार निवडून दिले ना, मी तुम्हाला सांगितलेलं सगळं द्यायला तयार आहे, पण तुम्ही तिथं काट मारली का मी पण काट मारला। तुमच्या हातात मत द्यायचंय, माझ्या हातात निधी द्यायचंय, मग बघा काय ते।
And viewers, in Karnataka, the Congress government continues to battle internal turbulence. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah met with the party president, Mallikarjun Kharge, a meeting that comes amid renewed whispers of a leadership change and pressure from DK Shivakumar faction, while the CM has called it pure speculation. The Congress High Command reviews the situation closely. We bring you the latest from Karnataka.
Political turbulence continues to grip Karnataka. Speculation over a leadership change refuses to die down within the ruling Congress. The latest spark comes after a string of MLAs travelled to Delhi, intensifying talk of a possible push for Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar. Amid the buzz, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah met Congress National President Mallikarjun Kharge in Bengaluru. However, after the meeting, the CM stated that discussions centered around other issues and not on cabinet changes or leadership transition.
ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು, ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ತಾಲೂಕು ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ, ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಗರ ಪಾಲಿಕೆ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರ ಪಾಲಿಕೆ ಚುನಾವಣೆ, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕರ್ಟಸಿ ಕಾಲ, ಇದು ಒಂದು ಕರ್ಟಸಿ ಕಾಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಬಂದಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ.
But reports suggest that Congress party is worried that the ongoing stalemate was damaging governance and the party's image. Siddaramaiah says he will go whenever he was called by the High Command.
You have met him now for more than 1 hour. Everybody says High Command should take the decision. When is the High Command taking the decision?
Doesn't mean that I have discussed with Khargeji for more than an hour. It doesn't mean that I should discuss only this aspect.
So everybody says that High Command should take the decision. When is the High Command taking the decision, sir?
Whenever they called me, I will go.
Sir, this confusion continues from the first day itself. Some of your MLAs are making unwanted, unprecedented statements about leadership change, all these things, CM change, other things. What is your clarity on this, sir?
See, my clarity is whatever decision taken by the High Command, I will follow it.
So when is the High Command taking decision, sir? When is the High Command taking decision?
Sources suggest that the High Command wants to settle the growing factional friction quickly, ahead of crucial local body elections. At the heart of the conflict lies murmurs of a 2.5 years rotational CM formula, an arrangement Siddaramaiah has repeatedly denied. He may complete the full term with only a cabinet reshuffle likely after the winter session in December. However, the power tussle has also drawn sharp attacks from the NDA. Union Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy warned of imminent and explosive political developments, accusing the Congress of internal chaos and weak administrative control. Before meeting Kharge, Siddaramaiah held a closed-door huddle with loyal ministers, while D.K. Shivakumar is also scheduled to meet Kharge.
ಏನು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲೀಡರ್ಗಳು ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಖರ್ಗೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸರ್, ಅದೇನ ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇವಾಗ ಅಂತ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ.
Confusion over the power sharing debate has dragged on for 30 months. But in a rare display of unity, Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar even shared the stage at a government event recently. But behind the gestures, factional pressure continues to build.
ಹೌದು, ಆಗಬೇಕು, CM ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಪಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ದುಡಿದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಷ್ಠಾವಂತ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತನಾಗಿ ಸುಮಾರು 40-50 ವರ್ಷ ಪಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಗೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ಅದೇನೇ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಪವರ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
For now, Siddaramaiah maintains that he will present the next budget and complete the full term, unless the High Command decides otherwise. Both camps waiting for Delhi's word, Karnataka's political landscape remains on edge.
And viewers, a political uproar has erupted as the central government plans to bring Chandigarh under Article 240, granting the president regulatory powers over the territory. However, the Ministry of Home Affairs has clarified that the central government had no intention to introduce any bill to alter Chandigarh's governance or administrative structure in the upcoming winter session of Parliament. Here's a report. Take a look. A fresh political row erupted over Centre's proposal to bring Chandigarh under Article 240 of the Constitution. The 131st Amendment Bill proposed by the Centre attempts to bring Chandigarh under the jurisdiction of Article 240, much like other union territories of Andaman and Nicobar and Daman and Diu. However, the proposal has sparked much political debate as Aam Aadmi Party and Akali Dal are calling it a complete takeover of Chandigarh by the union government. Article 240 of the Constitution grants power to the President to directly regulate a union territory and is in force in Andaman and Nicobar and Daman and Diu.
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो है वो चंडीगढ़ को हथियाना चाहती है, चंडीगढ़ के ऊपर कब्जा करना चाहती है। चंडीगढ़ पंजाब का है, पंजाब का रहेगा। आम आदमी पार्टी, हमारी सरकार और पार्टी, हम डट के लड़ाई लड़ेंगे, किसी को भी हाथ लगाने नहीं देंगे।
CM of Punjab, Bhagwant Mann, also took to X, calling the amendment against the interest of the state, reiterating that Chandigarh belongs only to the people of Punjab and that they will not let it slip away. Amid the political outrage, Akali Dal Supremo Sukhbir Singh Badal has called an emergency meeting of the party's core committee on Monday regarding the bill. The Punjab leader also posted on X saying that Punjab's right over Chandigarh was non-negotiable and calling the amendment attack on the federal structure. However, the BJP has denied all allegations, saying that the bill was being opposed without full knowledge of its contents.
भगवंत मान विषय पर बिना पढ़ाई लिखाई किए हुए विरोध कर रहे हैं। इसी प्रकार जो बाकी विरोधी दल है वो भी उस पर बिना पढ़ाई लिखाई के विरोध कर रहे हैं। मेरा निवेदन है, कृपा कर ध्यान से पढ़ें, कहीं भी किसी प्रकार का कोई बदल होने जा रहा नहीं है।
BJP High Command in the state, Sunil Jhakar, has also made his stance clear by saying whatever confusion has arisen will be resolved and that Punjab always comes first. Ahead of the winter session of the Parliament, the Ministry of Home Affairs issued a clarification saying that the bill is just a proposal and no decision will be taken without informing all stakeholders. The ministry also stated that the proposal will not alter the traditional arrangement between Punjab, Haryana or Chandigarh. Although the ministry has clarified that the government does not intend to introduce any such bill in the upcoming winter session, more updates on the issue are expected to come from the all-party meet scheduled on November 30th. And viewers, that's all we have in this show, but do not go anywhere. Next, we'll put our focus on some of the other stories we're tracking. The immortal remains of Wing Commander Namansh Syal, who died during the Dubai Air Show, was cremated with full state honours at Himachal Pradesh's Kangra.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Today, for most parts of the developed world, in Europe, in the United States, in the Middle East, Australia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, they are all finding in India a trusted partner, and this is going to drive huge amounts of investment and technology, which will not only serve the needs of a growing aspirational India, which will also be the sourcing base for the world.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Some places feel like they've been waiting for you, where every piece speaks of legacy, from diamonds that celebrate ambition to festive gold that honors tradition. LD Sons.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला। मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला। From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Union Minister Piyush Goyal meets Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. India-Israel FTA talks gain momentum, innovation partnership on the cards. French Navy slams Pakistan media for misinformation, says Rafale, claims fabricated. After political row, Home Minister issues clarification on Chandigarh bill, says it has no plans to introduce a bill altering Chandigarh's governance. Mortal remains of Wing Commander Namansh Syal, who died during the Dubai Air Show, was cremated with full state honours at Himachal Pradesh's Kangra today. Jamaat-e-Ulama-e-Hind President Arshad Madani sparks massive row amid Delhi blast probe, says government ensuring that Muslims never raise their heads. BJP criticizes Madani's remark alleging discrimination against Muslims in India, terms his statement confusing and misleading. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddharamaiah dismisses leadership change discussion in the state after meeting with Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge. Ladies and gentlemen, every time Wing Commander Namansh Syal came back home, he may have shared stories of what he saw in the skies with his 6-year-old daughter. Every time he came back home to sit with his parents and wife to recall the best and worst moments of his time in service. But not this time. He left for Dubai and left a nation in mourning forever, doing what he dreamt of as a child. Wing Commander Namansh Syal, a resident of Nagrota, Bhagwan, was known for his discipline and exceptional service record. He did his schooling at the Sainik School in Sujanpur Tira in Hamirpur district. Coming from a family of veterans, he too dreamt of conquering the skies, and so he did with incredible courage. Every flight, every sortie. But such is the uncertainty of this profession, ladies and gentlemen, that every breath taken by a man in uniform could be their last. A decorated officer, this is Wing Commander Syal's final journey.
The nation bid farewell to one of its brightest pilots, Wing Commander Namansh Syal, who died when his Tejas fighter jet crashed during the Dubai Air Show. His mortal remains were cremated with full state honours in his native village in Patialkad in Himachal Pradesh. The mortal remains arrived on an Indian Air Force C-130 aircraft at the Southern Air Command base, where a full military ceremony was conducted. From there, the body was taken to his ancestral home. The cremation was performed with state honours. Relatives, neighbours and villagers gathered to pay their respects. The atmosphere was one of sorrow, with many describing Wing Commander Syal as a local hero who always put his duty first.
दुबई जाने से पहले उनसे बात हुई थी कि मेरी सिलेक्शन हुई वहाँ एयर शो में जाने के लिए, तो मैंने उनको आशीर्वाद दिया और शाबाशी दी थी कि आपने तो हमारा खानदान का नाम बड़ा रोशन कर दिया इतनी, और बेटा जाओ आप खुशी खुशी से वहाँ पर अपना ये कम्बैटिंग करो।
बिल्कुल शांत स्वभाव का था, कम बोलता था, सोच बड़ी ऊंची थी और उसमें झील थी और भावना थी उसकी, मैं कुछ बनूंगा, उसके शुरू से पता लग जाता था हमें। वो थे उसके विचार, और ज़्यादा बात नहीं करनी, किससे टू द पॉइंट बात करता था।
बहुत अच्छा था, देश सेवा की भी बातें करता था, और गांव में भी बड़ा अच्छा प्यार भाव था, सभी से मेल, कोई अपनी नौकरी की कोई ज़्यादा वो नहीं थी, बहुत अच्छा सभी से बात करनी, उठना बैठना नीचे हर उसमें था, पार्टिसिपेट करता था, तो काफ़ी दुख हुआ।
Wing Commander Syal, a native of Nagrota Bagwan in Kangra district, was a decorated officer with a distinguished service record. He is survived by his wife, Wing Commander Afsana Syal, also an Indian Air Force officer, and their 6-year-old daughter Arya, and his parents.
बहुत इंटेलिजेंट था और हमारी तो बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करता था। बात बात में बुआ जी हमें बड़ा तो क्या मिल सकता।
मैं क्या बोलूं, मेरा घर उजड़ गया, मेरा बच्चा चला गया। क्या बोलूं, मैं एक बच्चा था, 2 बच्चे थे, मैं ये छोटा भाई था, मेरा बेटा बड़ा था, अब एक रह गया। अब क्या करूं, मैं ताई हूँ बच्चे की, क्या करूं मैं।
बहुत पोलाइट थे, बहुत ज्यादा पोलाइट थे, शरीफ थे, कम बोलते थे, इंटेलिजेंट थे बहुत ज्यादा।
The high achiever was an inspiration for hundreds, not only in his hometown but also his alma mater, Sainik School Sujanpur in Hamirpur district. Commissioned as a fighter pilot in 2009, he flew MiG-21 and Su-30 MKI before getting into Tejas in Coimbatore. Before the body was moved, the Indian Air Force rendered a full guard of honor at the Sulur Air Base in Tamil Nadu. The ceremonial parade included a 21-gun salute, the playing of the last post, and a formation flypast of 2 Tejas aircrafts in a missing man formation. The Tejas Mark I, a single-engine light combat aircraft, went down during a low-altitude aerobatic display at the Al Maktoum International Airport. At approximately 2:10 p.m. local time, the aircraft failed to recover from a negative G-turn, plunged to the ground and burst into flames, killing the pilot instantly. The Indian Air Force has launched a court of inquiry to determine the technical cause of the accident, and preliminary data from the flight radar recorder suggests a possible aerodynamic stall, but officials say the investigation is still in its early stages.
Getting in some more breaking news right now. This is with regards to an arrest that has been made by the National Investigation Agency. 3 people have been arrested for financial fraud of lakhs of rupees by impersonating themselves as NIA officials. In fact, what we are given to understand is that they collected money in the name of correcting the documents of many for the SIR list. A raid by the Intelligence Department and the Special Operation Group of Siliguri Police arrested the 3 people on your screens right now. These are the details now coming in of a fake NIA network that has been busted in the state of West Bengal. This is part of the ongoing SIR raids that have been carried out. In fact, it turns out that several such doubts are now out, especially with the SIR being carried out in different parts of the state. We are now given to understand that this arrest was made after a tip-off. A complaint essentially came in. There is a response that is also coming in. Let's listen in.
और 3 आदमी को आज हिरासत में लेके आज एसएसजी में प्रोड्यूस किया है, और डिटेक्टिव डिवीजन का पुलिस, उन लोगों का नाम है रेहान बाबर, और दूसरा का नाम है एहसन अहमद, और एक का नाम है मानिक राय। ये 3 आदमी को पकड़ा हुआ है। ये एक गणेश घोष बोल के, एक राहुल घोष बोल के एक आदमी वो कंप्लेन किया था कि उसके घर में ये 3 आदमी आए और बोले वो लोग एनआईए का ऑफिसर है, और बोला क्या वो उसका पिताजी ऐसे लड़की पाचार करता है, इसलिए उनका अगेंस्ट में केस होगा, तो उनका वोटर आईडी कार्ड, सब उसको उन लोग से लेके फिर एक दिन फ़ोन किया है जो तुम सिटी बिगा सर्कल मॉल में आओ और हम लोगों को पैसा दो। तो वो लोग डर के उन लोगों को 50,000 पेड किया है। फिर उसके बाद फिर से इन लोगों ने पैसा मांगा है, तब इन लोगों को थोड़ा डाउट लगा, फिर एफआईआर किया। फिर उसके एफआईआर की वजह से इन लोगों को अरेस्ट किया है। और मानिक राय जो है वो मेन किंग पिन है, वो इन लोगों को ऐसे काम कराता था, फोन से उनका मतलब कि संजोग होता था। और तीनों आदमी को आज हिरासत में लेके आज एसएसजी में प्रोड्यूस किया है और डिटेक्टिव डिवीजन का पुलिस। उन लोगों का नाम है रेहान बाबर और दूसरा का नाम है एहसन अहमद और एक का नाम है मानिक राय। ये तीनों आदमी को पकड़ा हुआ है। ये एक गणेश घोष बोल के एक राहुल घोष बोल के एक आदमी वो कंप्लेन किया था कि उसके घर में ये तीनों आदमी आए और बोले वो लोग एनआईए का ऑफिसर है, और बोला क्या वो उसका पिताजी ऐसे लड़की पाचार करता है, इसलिए उनका अगेंस्ट में केस होगा। तो उनका वोटर आईडी कार्ड सब उसको उन लोग से लेके फिर एक दिन फ़ोन किया है जो तुम सिटी बिगा सर्कल मॉल में आओ और हम लोगों को पैसा दो। तो वो लोग डर के उन लोगों को 50,000 पेड किया।